We have Andy McCluskey on the line from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. Andy, how are you this Friday morning?
Oh, very well indeed. Thank you very much for asking. How are you?
I'm well. Now, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, you have recently reformed and everything is looking good, hopefully for the new album, which I believe came out very, very recently.
Yes, it's just been out a couple of weeks ago. I think different countries have slightly different release dates, but no, it's been very well received so far. We're delighted.
Great. I mean, we've had a couple of tracks off the album, and yeah, I must admit, it's fantastic. It sounds as though OMD are back to where they should be.
That's very kind of you to say. I mean, it's been... It's kind of a difficult, perhaps dangerous thing to do, to dare to make a new record when you're our age.
What do you mean? In your late 20s?
We sing ideas and some good tunes, and so far, people like yourself seem to be agreeing with us.
Now, this, I guess, came about because of the reform for German TV in 2005.
That's correct, yes. Somewhat in keeping with the band that accidentally started a career 32 years ago by doing a one-off Liverpool. We accidentally restarted ourselves by basically going for a jolly to Germany to do a TV show, really, and we all sat around having so much fun together for the first time in 16 years, we decided to be a band again.
Now, the band originated through school, if I'm right. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. Both Paul Humphreys and I went to the same primary and junior school in a little place called Mells, across the river from Liverpool in the suburb. And it was really, it was a hobby. It was a hobby in his mother's house back room on a Saturday afternoon that used to drive the neighbours insane. Not his mother, because she went to work, clever woman. And that was it. It remained a hobby for 3 years, and we dared ourselves to go and play one concert, really, and gave ourselves a preposterous name because it didn't really matter, and we wanted people to know it was a weird idea. And to our surprise and delight, we started a career.
Now, the band really, really took off. I remember seeing you on Top of the Pops and things like that and thinking, wow, these guys are really cool. Were you aware of that sort of thing happening to you at the time?
Well, you certainly become aware of having to go on Top of the Pops and find yourself on the front cover of magazines. It was very... it was not our intention. We weren't sort of desperate X Factor style wannabes who wanted to be famous. We were quite surprised that, to be perfectly honest, songs that our best friends had thought a few years earlier were absolute rubbish, suddenly in the charts. But yeah, it was quite a surprising and amazing transformation, but we weren't complaining.
Now, the other thing, there was a definite OMD look as well. It was very clean cut, very smart, very, very stylish. Was that something else that you went for intentionally, or was it just something that happened?
No, it was completely an attempt to actually have a non-style. We were terribly serious, dour northern lads who wanted our music to be taken seriously, but we were desperately trying to not make a fashion statement. So we actually tried to dress as conservatively and boringly as possible, with just white shirts and short hair and thin black ties, trying to look like sort of junior bank clerks, I guess, which completely backfired because you have a couple of hits and then, the whole front row of your audience is spotty 16-year-old boys in white shirts and black ties, and you're like, don't copy us, it's not a style statement.
But it certainly did. And if I'm correct, that sort of carried on all the way through Europe, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it really was quite surprising. We were doing our own music, and amazingly people were buying it. We were trying to not have a style, and amazingly people were copying it. It was completely in every way opposite to what you would think you have to do to be successful in a group.
And Orchestral Manoeuvres and the band itself, those tracks are still good today. I mean, I know we play them here on Heartfm, and I know they're played on other radio stations as well. It's not as though it was something which was locked in time.
Yes, we're very... people ask us why it is that some of our songs seem to have sort of transcended the era from whence they came. I think, if I'm allowed to be slightly big-headed, it would appear that we've written some damn good tunes.
Yes. Certainly, I'd agree with that. Now, talking about writing...
Old and the middle and your granny can all whistle them at the... their memorable tunes, and I guess stylistically, perhaps because we weren't even trying to conform even in the 80s, perhaps they sound sort of, the better phrase, because they were not of their time, they have become timeless. I don't know, but listen, I'm delighted they still get played and listened to.
Now, talking about writing, you also co-wrote Whole Again for Atomic Kitten, which is a completely different sort of direction to go in.
Yes, a few people find it quite strange that I was involved with Atomic Kitten. It came about because at the height of Britpop and grunge in the mid-90s, I really felt like we were banging our heads against a brick wall with the band. The fashions and the style had changed. So I rather conceitedly thought that I could still write some songs, and it was the vehicle that was being rejected, so I just needed to get somebody else to sing the songs. So, yes, the thing is, you can't do a manufactured, credible rock group. It doesn't work that way. You have to do manufactured pop. So I decided that a three-piece girl band was the magic number. They were the best manufactured girl groups are always three-piece, and the best manufactured groups are girls because they have to have good music. Boy bands, as we all know, get away with absolute bloody murder, releasing terrible music that deaf women buy because they're in lust with the band. Sorry, I've just alienated half your listeners now. Yes, so we had this mad idea. I met the three girls, all young girls from in and around Liverpool, and we set off on this mad journey that ended up with us having a number one.